Hi Vinyl community, this is Glenn, your low-end music freak. This is a contest entry. This is an entry into MikeGuitarPlayer07's contest, his 300 subs contest. Congratulations, Mike. By the way, Mike did a live event last night, and it was great. I'm sure Mike would have liked a ton more people in it, but from my viewpoint, there was usually an average of around 12, 13, 14 people maybe at that time, and it really made it interactive. We got to chat back and forth online, and I loved it. Unfortunately, it went past my bedtime. I'm getting too old to stay up, so I had to leave before it was over, but thanks, Mike, for putting that on last night. I loved it. So I'd love to see more vinyl community members put on live events like that. That was great. I know the Vinyl Guru tried one the other night, and she was having technical problems, and YouTube was giving her a hard time for whatever reason. It was very cool too. So anyway, Mike's contest for 300 subscribers, he asked for 3 different things. One, the first record that you ever bought. Secondly, the record that you've listened to the most. And finally, a personal story about buying a record. So the first record I bought really was just pre-Beatles. I think it was the Beach Boys, All Summer Long, if I'm remembering correctly. And I think I also bought a Gene Pitney album, which I can't remember the name of it. I can kind of remember it had a red cover and just Gene's picture, head and shoulders shot on the cover. That's all I remember about it. I don't remember what songs were on it. So 64 is really, I got to start there with the first Beatles record I bought. Now the Canadian version of this record is called Beatlemania with the Beatles. This is the UK mono. It's the best I can do for a facsimile. Anyway, this was purchased right when the Beatles hit North America. Still one of the greatest albums of all time, and kick-started a whole generation of music lovers and musicians, and real essential album. So I got to go with this as my first album purchased. Secondly, the album I've listened to the most, I got to go back to the Beatles. I think it's Sgt. Pepper. I always say my 3 favorite albums, and I kind of call them 1A, 1B, and 1C, are Sgt. Pepper, Dylan's Blonde on Blonde, and Jethro Tull's Aqualung. I'm not sure I could have picked any of those and said they were my most listened to. I think it's got to be Sgt. Pepper's. Anyway, it's I consider it the greatest album of all time, and that's it. For my story, a personal story about playing a record, this is confession time. I'm gonna go with, I don't have the vinyl story, more of the Monkees. So I can't remember if this album came out in 66 or 67. Whatever year that was, I think it was 66. I was a big Monkees fan, loved the TV show, loved the first album. I think their hits are great. Last Train to Clarksville, I know it started off as like a band put together for TV and da-na-na-na-na, but they sang great, even though if they didn't play on their records at first. They did eventually. I actually saw the Monkees at Maple Leaf Gardens. So I was a big fan. Anyway, this album came out when I was, I'm going to say 13. I didn't have any money, didn't want to ask my parents for any money, so I'm talking to a friend of mine in grade school, and his name shall remain nameless to protect the innocent, or not so innocent. We decided we were going to go to the local department store, which was called Simpson's at Cedar Brae Plaza in Scarborough. Our big plot was to shoplift 2 copies of this album. So we go in there, and we thought we had it all down pat. This was like the crime of the century. We'd walk in, and in the lobby of the Simpsons store, when you first walked in, there was a little machine there, and if you put like a nickel in it or dime in it, I can't remember, you got a Simpsons shopping bag. So when you walk around the store, you could put your items in the bag. It was a big paper bag. So our big plot was to put the nickel or dime in the machine, grab a bag, nonchalantly walk around the store like we were just shopping around, go to the record department, drop 2 more of the Monkees records in the bag, then nonchalantly walk toward the exit. And once we got within a couple of feet of the exit door, run like hell. So everything was going along smoothly until we got to the exit door. My friend was 1 step ahead of me. He charges out the exit door, and at this point, about 5 security guards or store detectives jump me. My friend, I never seen anybody run so fast. He could have won the 100-meter dash. He was gone like a blur, and there I am with my hand on the bag, holding 2 records, being held down by all these store detectives. Scared the crap out of me. They took me in a room. They didn't abuse me or anything, just scared the living daylights out of a kid. Had to go home and tell my parents and get them to call the store, and oh my God, it was just a terrible experience. It scared the crap out of me. I have to admit, maybe it was a good thing it scared me straight. I don't think I ever shoplifted again in my life. It was really scary. So anyway, I didn't end up with the album that day. A few days later, I think my parents felt a little sorry for me because I was honest about what happened, and I truly was genuinely pretty upset and scared. And next allowance, they made sure I had enough money so I could buy more of the Monkees. So kudos to my mom and dad, and just want to tell you kids, don't shoplift. It's not worth it. Anyway, that's my entry into the contest. Thank you very much for putting it on, Mike. You've got a fantastic channel. Love it, and thank you so much again.